Welcome to Daily Armor. Today we're going to be in the book of 2 Samuel again, chapter number 7 this time. I'm going to be looking at several verses going on here. Still thinking about what I was thinking about yesterday about having some ideas, having the right intentions, but stopping and asking God. Stopping and asking God, Lord, is this what you want? Is this what you desire? Because so many times, like myself, when I've had that, just come back from a very wonderful vacation. I feel rested. I feel energetic. I feel I have got so much energy that all these ideas flood. And it doesn't mean that it's something that God wants me to do. It means that I'm supposed to stop and ask. Here I want you to notice that in verse number 1 of chapter 7, it says, "And it came to pass, when the king sat in his house, and the Lord had given him rest round about from all his enemies." See, the king he'd been fighting a bunch of battles. He had gotten the ark of the Lord, returned with it. He was rejoicing. He had all this energy. He was getting rest from all these battles. He'd been through so much in so many years, and God was giving him rest. During this time he had this rest, he's also flooded with this gratitude. And so often when we are flooded with gratitude and we have all this energy because God has given us rest, then we have all these exciting ideas and we want to do this and we want to do that and we want to go for this and we want to go for that. But are we supposed to? But is that what God wants us to do? Our enthusiasm and our energy and our ideas can be wonderful, but they should always be run by the Lord through prayer. They should always go through prayer. They should always go through what He wants, not what we want. And here we see that the king said unto Nathan the prophet, "See now, I dwell in a house of cedar." See, he's feeling so grateful. He's looking around at what he has, and he's feeling so grateful, and he's feeling so unworthy, and he wants to do something for the Lord. And he says, "I dwell in a house of cedar, but the ark of God dwelleth within curtains." See, the ark of God had been in tents for year after year after year after year, and here David is feeling so overwhelmed with what God has done for him and what God has given him and how God has blessed him, and he wants to do something back for the Lord. And Nathan said to the king, "Go, do all that is in thine heart, for the Lord is with thee." And so Nathan gets excited. He's like, "Yes, that's a wonderful idea, and the Lord's with you, and He's going to bless you." Almost to the point where you don't even have to ask. This is a great idea. God's going to bless anything that you do. No. God's going to bless what He leads us to do. God's going to bless what He asks us to do. God's going to bless what He has said is part of His will. That's what He's going to bless. And we'll see here that God sent a message through Nathan. So Nathan had to back up with what he said, what he thought, because God had a message and He had to relay that to David. And it says, "And it came to pass," verse number 4, "and it came to pass that night that the word of the Lord came unto Nathan, saying." So see, that very night, God's telling Nathan, "I know you were excited. I know David's excited. I know he's feeling grateful and he's got all this gratitude. But I have a different plan. I already have a plan for how this is going to take place. And it came to pass that night that the word of the Lord came unto Nathan, saying, Go and tell my servant David, Thus saith the Lord, Shalt thou build me a house for me to dwell in?" He's like, "Shall you do it? Shall you do it?" And he's saying, "No, it's what your thinking is not even big enough." See, God has bigger plans. God has better plans. God has eternal plans. He wasn't just thinking in the now as David was. David was just thinking in the now. But God's looking out to the future. God's looking out through eternity, and He's got such much bigger plans than we could ever even comprehend. "Whereas I have not dwelt in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt, even to this day, but have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle. In all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build me not a house of cedar? He's like, have I told anybody to do that? Is this anything that I could have already put this into place? But God's saying, I haven't put it into place because it's not time. And it's going to be bigger and grander, and it's going to be more wonderful than what you're thinking. And he has a plan already in place. Now therefore, verse number 8, so shalt thou say unto my servant David, thus saith the Lord of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. Verse 9, and I was with thee whithersoever thou wentest, and have cut off all thine enemies out of thy sight, and have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own, and move no more. Neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them any more, as beforetime. And as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused thee to rest from all thine enemies, also the Lord telleth thee that he will make thee an house. He's saying, you're wanting to make me a house, but I could have already had that done. I'm telling you, I've got plans for that, but I'm going to make you a house. David is hearing all this. He's like, you want to make me a house, David, but I'm telling you, I'm making you a house. And that's not just for this temporary, it's not just for now, but it's what he's fixing to let him in on. He's going to let him in on some things. He says it's going to last from here on out. From here, it's going to last, we'll even see the phrase, forever. And when David, verse number 12, and when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He's saying, I've got plans, but the plans that you've got in mind are for a little bit later. They're for after you're gone. I'm going to set this up, and your son's going to do this, and I've got plans, and they're bigger than what you're thinking. It's more than what you can comprehend. Whatever I'm thinking, whatever you're thinking, we're just thinking about the now, the present, because we don't have any control over the future, but God has control over the future, and he's thinking beyond what we think. His ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts. He goes beyond. So even if he tells us no, even if he tells us to wait, we can get excited, because what he has planned, what he has in store, is way better than anything that we can come up with. Verse number 13, he shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Do you understand what David's hearing? David is hearing that the Lord is saying, I know, David, you want to build me a house. I know, Lord, you want, the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark of God, you want it to be in a house. Like you've got a house of cedar, but what I'm thinking is even better. I'm going to make you a house. And I'm going to make you a house and a kingdom that's going to last forever. Why? Because Jesus is coming back. And that throne, that kingdom that's going to be forever, that's where Jesus is going to reign. That's the kind of plans God had. God had plans that weren't just about the now. They weren't even just about 25 years from now, or 50 years from now, or 100 years from now. He's thinking forever. Look at the last of this. He shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of his kingdom forever. Forever. Mary, the mother of Jesus, she come through the lineage of David. Forever. That's the kind of plans that God had. David was thinking about the present. I'm thinking about the present, but I'm asking God, what does he want? Be sure to take everything to the Lord in prayer. Thank you for joining me. I look forward to seeing you again soon.